Do you think monogamy is natural?
I know where this is going because I've thought about this too. It's not, but human beings have, what is natural for human beings is to create a society. Mm-hmm. And we've decided that works.
We have, so monogamy is not natural. We would be the only animals some of the only animals that do it, but we do it.
So it's natural to us. Same thing with
I'm not
city.
saying it's natural. I'm saying, but we do it anyway.
Yeah.
So even if, and I don't think it is, but even if exploitation is natural, we can fight those instincts in the same way we fight the others.
I'm afraid to even ask the question because it sounds like a messed up question to even ask, but I'm asking it because it's not because I agree with what I'm asking. I'm asking because I'm afraid of like what is possible.
Ooh, I love this.
So do you think it's possible to live the life we live today, like with what we have this keyboard, this house, we were talking about, like everything we have cars, we have technology. Is it possible at all to live the life we live today without there being some class of people that suffers as a consequence of what we have today? Like, is there a way to treat like what you said? Well, we got these cars, but these people got screwed over. Mm-hmm. We have smartphones, but they're being created by slaves. Is there any possible to have everything we have today without any of that?
I believe yes.
Not. Oh, is this what they're gonna say?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I like to say, okay. I think it's just the nature of our economic and political systems. I like to say that capitalism.
Okay.
So capitalism is the economic system where there's private ownership of goods and private ownership of goods and property, as opposed to socialism, which has public ownership of goods and property.
Yeah.
I like to tell people the downsides, the pros and cons of capitalism are: the pros are you can get really rich.
Right.
The cons are you can get really poor. It's my belief that in a perfect system of capitalism, both of those statements would still be true. If capitalism is running exactly how it's supposed to, which I think it is, you will have extremities at both ends. You will have very rich people and very poor people.
So capitalism can only exist in that nature. You can't have a capitalist society where everybody's equal.
No, that would be
okay.
No, I do not believe so. I could be wrong.
Okay.
I think that in a socialist economy, the pro is you can't become so poor that you are in an ideal socialist economy. You cannot become extremely poor, and the con is you cannot become extremely rich. It'll just exist. The margins are just a lot closer together.
Right.
I do believe in cooperation. The United States has a mixed economy, by the way. We have a mixture of socialism and capitalism. For example, we have libraries and bookstores. We have...
Right. The libraries are more socialist and the bookstores are more capitalist.
They're publicly owned.
What is Marxism? Like, how would you define Marxism?
Marxism is...
is it closer to socialism?
Yes. Marxism is a set of beliefs... a set of beliefs espoused by Karl Marx that I think it's more of a blanket term, kind of like communism, but it's a blanket term that includes socialism and communism and other various isms that stem from Karl Marx and his often forgotten partner Friedrich Engels. I think that there can be a better society right now, even existing. I think, a lot of theorists say that we're at late stage capitalism. I'm almost skeptical that we've actually transitioned back into feudalism, but without monarchies, with corporations at the helm instead. And I know I'm using so many terms that people are going to make me look up, and I apologize for that. But I think things could... in theory, be so much better. I do not think we need slaves to produce
Right.
our
I guess that's what I'm getting
goods
at. And again, I
services.
was afraid to ask that
Or
question.
wage slaves.
I was afraid to ask that question because I thought it would like look like I was implying like, yeah, we need this.
I understand.
But for example, we watch nature documentaries. I remember specifically, for example, one time I was watching this nature documentary with one of my ex-boyfriends, and there was this scene where I don't remember exactly which bird it was, but there was this group of birds, and it was somewhere cold. It was in a cold climate. It wasn't penguins though. It was like some other type of bird, and they were all walking together. And one of the like runt type of birds wasn't walking fast enough, so the group of birds just left it behind and it died. And I remember like I was like almost in tears. I was like, that is so sad. And my boyfriend at the time was like, well, that's nature. It's just the way it is. Like they have to survive. And then like it got me thinking, I'm like, is that humans? Like do we have some runts that we just shit over and take their resources? Are we always going to have that? Like, is that just part of human nature too? You know,
I'm
like
an optimist. I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm a very cynical optimist, but I'm still an optimist.
Yeah.
And
again, I'm not implying that. I'm just saying like, it got me thinking. I'm like, if that's part of nature, and is there any species besides human beings that has like equal, like, it seems like every species like kicks out the runt. So why would humans be any different, you know?
I don't know. Why did humans invent the internet? Like,
True. I mean, true. We also do things
we're
differently.
the
So that's a good
exception.
point. Yeah.
We're one of the only animals that even developed language and agriculture,
Yeah.
and really the only ones that did it at this scale.
Right.
We're different. We're the exception. I don't know that.
Yeah.
I feel like when I've thought about that stuff, like, oh, well, if the animals do this, but
Yeah.
to me that leans heavily into predetermination, almost like there's a plan for all of this, which I don't subscribe to. Or if there is a plan, I don't think we know it and could even guess at it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to worry about the animals are doing. They're doing
Yeah.
what they're doing. We're doing
Yeah.
what we're doing. And when I think that, it frees me to say that, okay, if there are no rules, if there's nothing holding us back, we can advance forward into a state of
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. No, that makes perfect
Yeah.
sense. Because I use that same argument for other things. Like people are like, the humans, the humans weren't meant to have armpit, like certain arguments people make that they're like, women aren't meant to shave their legs, like, or shave their armpits. It's natural. And I'm like, yeah, it also wasn't natural for you to throw your kale into a blender, but you're doing that. So actually that's a really good point. It's like, yeah, in nature they shit on the little guy, but we're not. But then it's like, but then it feels arrogant. But then it also feels arrogant to say it. Like, so I'm like agreeing with you, but then I'm like, man, am I arrogant to say like we're special, like we're better than that? Like, you know what I mean?
Kind of are though. Like we are. We're a very different species than the rest of this. Good and bad. We're different than every other species on Earth.
Yeah.
People have their instincts. I don't. Here we go.
Yeah.
Do you think monogamy is natural?
I know where this is going because I've thought about this too. It's not, but human beings have, what is natural for human beings is to create a society, and we've decided that works.
We have so monogamy is not natural. We would be the only animals some of the only animals that do it, but we do it.
So it's natural to us. Same thing with
I'm not saying
city.
it's natural. I'm saying, but we do it anyway.
Yeah.
So even if, and I don't think it is, but even if exploitation is natural, we can fight those instincts in the same way we fight the others.
Or like even violence, like it's natural. Like it's not like yeah, right. That's a shitty argument. Like, well, if the animals are doing it, we should do it too. It's like, well, fuck it. Actually, I don't know if there are any animal species that kill each other. Like we might
like just to do it.
Like we might there's animal species that kill like other like there's like hyenas killing lions, like that type of stuff. But I don't know if there's hyenas killing hyenas. That might actually just be a truly human thing.
I mean, like people fight over mates a lot. That's a thing in the animal kingdom.
In the animal kingdom, they do fight.
They fight their own species.
I don't know if they kill each other. Maybe they do.
They
do.
do.
Do they do?
It happens.
Okay, so they do fight over mates. But anyways, no, it is natural.
And food sometimes, shelter, like animals do.
They do kill each other. Okay,
but animals don't have language. Animals
Right.
don't have ways to reason with things. Animals
Yeah.
also don't have like an abundance of resources that are poorly allocated, but could easily, if if greed wasn't
Yeah.
at play, like, because that's really the whole thing, is if some people, to move into the future, some people are going to have to be happier with being rich and not stupid rich.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, maybe that's the hard thing that people can't do, because it's a whole lifestyle creep thing where it's like, I don't know. People are going to have to realize, and when I say people, I don't mean anyone that you or I will ever meet. I'm talking the very, very top people. I'm talking Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk,
Yeah.
most people that we've never even heard of. No one that will ever meet, people that will meet, even that they by and large will work for their money. Some of them will be paid very well. I'm talking about people who are just getting money, who are just inheriting or owning owning sounding like such a Marxist here, but the means of production to this and exploiting millions of people, like a Jeff Bezos type person. If he just was like, I would like, gosh, it's so complicated, but
Yeah. I understand.
but at its simplest core, if he just was a little willing to contend with a little bit less, and if a lot of people were just able to contend with a little bit less to help other people out, I mean,
Right. He like Jeff,
Yeah.
I have to admit, I have like I developed like an Amazon, like addiction almost, like not addiction in the sense that I'm just like buying frivolous things, but I mean addiction to the convenience. Like I'm addicted to the convenience of Amazon. And really when you think about it, I just got the chills saying this for some reason, like, cause it feels like true, I guess. Stuff, he kind of shaped society, like, because everybody's ordering Amazon now.
Yeah.
Like what he's created has shaped society in a way where it's like, that's just what we do now. We just order from Amazon. Like we don't go to the store. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I hate
like
that.
you can just get it delivered to your house. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
I do. I've been boycotting Amazon for like
Yeah.
5, 6, 7 years now, but I'm a weirdo. Don't worry about me.
No, I've been wanting to boycott Amazon, but I got hooked to the convenience of it. But I agree with you. It's one of those things where it's like, it can't be good. And the quality
I
of the
boycott
things.
like everything though. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I
You're good.
boycott
You're
like
good.
everything.
What's
though.
some other things you boycotted?
I've been boycotting McDonald's since 6th grade. I don't eat like meat. I don't eat like
Yeah.
I try not to use BP or Exxon, but I kind of think all gas companies are evil. Like the oil companies are worse than the car companies. The oil companies are a really tough one. Living in the city, I don't have to drive as much except for gigs, so I can kind of get by without them. I'll boycott just about anything. What do you got? Then there's just things I just don't do because I don't like coffee, so I don't drink coffee. That's
love
not
coffee.
a boycott. Yeah, I don't drink alcohol really. I don't.
Yeah, I don't drink alcohol either.
I don't like doing. Yeah, there's a lot of things I don't take part in, but if I did, I try not to support major chains. I've been boycotting Walmart for my whole adult life, and I'll boycott just about anything I have an issue with. Which I think makes sense.
Are there any companies out there that are large corporations, or they don't even have to be corporations, just a company that makes a lot of money? Are there any that are actually known to give back to society, that are like, we make a shit ton of money and our goal is to help the community with it?
I don't know. I think inherently a corporation's job is to make profit, and
Yeah.
above all else, it's not a corporation. That's one of the issues. That's one of the, I think, problems inherent in capitalism, is that this entity, this body, a corporation, only exists to make money,
profit.
to make profit in particular, not to break even.
And
But every quarter they have to raise
profit?
it.
Like, what do they do with it?
Well, they pay their shareholders, or they increase the shareholders' stock, but it's not to improve society. It's not. There's no direct help. There could be, if these were public. So I'll tell you what I believe would be a solution. And to answer your question, I like Costco. I think there are probably good companies. Costco seems okay.
Yeah.
I don't know too much, but I know that the workers in that company are fairly happy, and you cannot say the same thing about Walmart or Amazon.
Right.
Those workers are very openly miserable, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of literature on all this, but I think that what we should have is public, like, okay, let's say Amazon was a public owned company, or I'm sorry, let's say Amazon was a public service, essentially. Like the government controlled Amazon.
Yeah.
And when I say the government, people get all like Big Brother, like, oh, you want the government? No. In an ideal government where we are the government, truly, not even in our we have a republic, which is representative-based democracies. I mean, in like an actual democracy where every person has just one vote and we vote in laws and things. I think if we were all able to vote on Amazon and every company, if companies were democratic, a small d democratic, meaning
what do you mean small d? Like,
well, earlier I said big D democratic, like not the Democratic Party, but democratic as in democracy. Like
they're two different okay.
So democratic big D is, I'm talking about the American
political party, and
the Democratic
like
Party, the concept of voting.
Yeah,
democratic, like a democracy, where voting based decisions.
Yeah.
So small d democratic. If Amazon was small d democratic, and we could elect, like if you and I, in being customers, could elect like people, different managers. If we could elect, if we could vote on what the workers should be paid, or even if the workers themselves, even just within the company, if the workers, let's forget about you and me, let's say just the people of the company all had a vote, I could get behind that. I think democratic, small d, based companies would work. You're not going to vote to cut your workers' health pensions or pensions or health care if the workers are voting. No one's going to vote away their pensions or health care. They might not vote to make the decision that will make the company the most money, but they'll definitely do a better job by their communities and society. And taking it back to the earlier part, what I wanted to say, but I couldn't get the words out right, is when you're part of a community, when you're seeing these people every day, you care about them, you care about your lives just by living around people. It's so different now, but if Jeff Bezos lived in a city around people that he's screwing over, you can only screw people over so much that you're looking in the eye.
The people would start like attacking him. Like the people would come after him.
Well, he couldn't even do it. I'm saying that every person, I think, has a little bit of empathy inside them, and I can't look someone in the eye and kill them. Does that make sense? Like I can't, if he actually had to look, he's removed himself in the same way that we remove ourselves from each other in community and society by living in the suburbs.
Like going back to what we were saying about cars, when people are in cars, they're so mean to each other. People curse and like give each other the finger in the car because they don't feel like they're human anymore.
No.
Like they feel like this very disconnected thing where you're right. It's like taking away that empathetic layer there. And
it's dehumanizing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And just these little boxes in the cities, and I'm sorry, in the suburbs where you're just, or these big boxes even, like I think there's levels to it. I think there are a lot of suburbs. I think your suburb actually has more community than my suburb did because your houses are closer to each other.
Downbrook.
You have a downtown. You're walking near each other.
It's like a mini city. It's like a baby city.
Yeah, I'd say that's a lot better than like, unless you were on the mountain. That's a whole different story.
My grandma was up there.
Yeah, if you're on the mountain,
my grandma lived up on the mountain.
Yeah, no, you're on the hill. Like it's really pretty. It's a really nice architecture up there too.
Martinsville it was called.
Yeah, no, that's different. But yeah, but like, these sprawling, because people don't realize, Bridgewater, Montgomery, Hillsborough, all these central Jersey towns, they were farms until like the 70s. This is an experiment that we're trying right now, and I'm not sure it worked.
You mean suburbs are new?
The majority of the suburbs are new. The ones that we grew up around. Even Cherry Hill, like it was mostly farmland until around that time period.
So you would say historically, people mostly lived in tight-knit locations, like similar to a city?
I would say the rise of urbanization has been going on since short answer, yes. Long answer, in the United States, urbanization really kicked off in the 19th century. So during the 1800s, we went to something like 80% of people living on farms to 80% of people living in a city in the country. So that happened over over a relatively short period of time. But so that means that we've had 220 years roughly of the majority of people living in cities, and then, which is still the case now. Well, yeah, to my belief, living in or around cities, certainly true. And over the past 1970s, so 50 years, people have started migrating to the suburbs, and there's a whole, I don't know if we have the time and we probably can get into it, but there's a lot of race and class undertones to why people left the cities as well, or overtones even in a lot of cases.
Okay.
There's a lot. I mean, we grew up in pretty
You think
segregated towns.
It was a way for races to say, I'll have my own space.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we grew up. I mean, the correlation. There's a lot of great books about this stuff too, but like a lot of it correlates. Like look at we'll keep it to New Jersey. The Newark riots happened in the late '60s. A lot of people leave Newark. A lot of white families leave Newark and move to the suburbs. And a lot of those suburbs specifically made it illegal for black people to move into those suburbs.
So
like Levittown.
I never even thought of this. So suburbs are mainly white?
Yes.
I mean, it makes perfect sense
by design.
That
oh my god, yeah,
sense,
and that goes with the car too.
Like we're coming full circle again about history trickling itself, because suburbs being mostly white would be never anything I would question. But now that you're explaining it, it's like, no, yes, suburbs are mostly white. It's not just because, it's because there's a history behind this where it's like they were living together, like all races were living together, and they decided to leave. Okay.
Much more harmoniously than today. It is much more segregated now, our country, than it was in the North anyway.
Yeah.
It's more segregated now, I think, than it was in the 60s, certainly. Because, okay, so here's a couple things. Here's just a couple things about the whiteness of the suburbs. You have the GI Bill, for example. World War II comes around. The government promises homes, essentially, like cheap home loans and college degrees to veterans coming back from World War II. They only gave them to white families. And since most people lived in the cities at that time, the government was like, oh man, we need to give all those Americans who fought in the war, the white ones, homes. Where are we going to do that? The cities are already built up. I mean, we're living in a house that's 200 years old right now, or 110 years old. The real estate's taken. So they look to the farmlands. These are, the Hillsboroughs, the Bridgewaters, the Levitt towns. And they said, all right, we're going to build homes on this land. Again, though, they only get it for the white people. Up through, I think, the 1970s, though, it was in those towns' bylaws that you had to be white to live in that town. So the government is giving white people free homes or near free interest rates, near zero interest rates, if not zero. I got to do more research on this. It's been a while since I graduated college, like 10 years ago. Maybe 15. Wow. A while ago, yeah. They're giving very inexpensive, near free homes to these veterans, but they're not giving those same chances to people of color. And then if you could afford to move out, despite all of the other horrible injustices that are committed against people of color in this country, and especially black people, you weren't even allowed to move into these towns. Like Levittown is the one I pick on because there's a Levittown in Long Island's the famous one, but there's one in New Jersey down here, and there was one in Pennsylvania also around here, and they were just all over. And people point at Levittown, but they don't realize that he had competitors, and they were all doing the same thing. There were a lot of towns that sprung out in the 1950s. So those were like the first modern suburbs. But then that business did so well, it just kept going on until the 70s is when it really just booms. And a lot of that is due to what's referred to as white flight, which is the deurbanization of America and some, not quite deurbanization, but more like it's the reason why so many white, it's the experience of so many white people. I can't find the right word, but white flight is the phenomenon, there we go, of white people leaving cities in mass during the 1960s and 70s, okay? A lot of it was, they point to like rioting over the civil rights riots, such as the King riots, King assassination riots, and Newark is a big one people point to, and similar things I think in Watts and Detroit. But you know, there were other factors at play, opportunities that were not given to other people. And one of those is due to the systemic oppression of people of color, and again, specifically black people, wealth was a lot harder to build in communities of color. And what do you need to have a car? Wealth. So you couldn't even get to these suburbs because you need a car to live in the suburbs. So it kept them above a certain income level also. So that's why not only are the suburbs white, they're predominantly upper middle class as well. And that, I think, changed somewhat over the past, well, as the middle class has shrunk. That's changed a bit now over the past, say, 3 decades. But yeah, no, there is racial overtones, I would say. I mean, people don't even realize just how, I mean, this is all our parents' lifetime. Our parents are about the same age, give or take. This is all, they were alive for all of this. Their experience of living, like, did your grandparents grow up in Newark, I assume, or the city or something? Like, mine did.
My grandmother grew up in the burned downtown. Remember what was it called again?
Oh, the one in Pennsylvania?
Yeah. What's that called again? Centralia.
Centralia.
So my grandma grew up in Centralia. I actually don't know where my other grandma grew up in. I don't know. I think she might have grown up in Bound Brook.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I think she actually might have grown up in.
I was gonna say, chances are your grandparents and certainly your great grandparents did grow up in the city.
I think my great grandparents were from. Were they from the United States or? I know on my great grandma was from Ukraine, but then she came to the United States. Like, so actually, I don't know the history of my great grandparents. I have to find out about that. I think
that'd be fascinating.
I think on both sides of my family, my great grandparents came to the United States, but were born in other countries. I'm pretty sure one was born in Italy, one was born in Ukraine, and then they came to the United States. I don't know where they were living. They might have been living near the city, like Elizabeth Kane area ish, like type something. I have to look.
That's about where my family's from. Elizabeth, by Kane, Union. My grandpa, Union, Kane, Rahway, Newark, Kearney. That's all my people. My dad's side are from there. My mom immigrated to this country and lived in New York City for the first half of her life.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
I do have a question. I didn't write it down, but I just thought of it. Your passion about cities and communities versus the suburbs. Mm-hmm. How did this start for you? Was this something that was in your family that they kind of gave you these values, or is it something that being a historian, you sort of started learning this stuff and putting 2 and 2 together? Like, what made you, what inspired you to have this passion about this?
I would say both. So I grew up in the suburbs, but I was born in New York City and I lived there first 5 years. Here's where it started. You know what is, maybe even tied in a little bit with music, but I remember turning 14 and really wanting to go do something, and there was nowhere to go and nothing to do. So I was like, why don't I live in Princeton or Somerville or New Brunswick or some town with sidewalks where I could go see my friends on the other side of town? Or why don't I live in the town with a train station where I can go to New York? Or wait, why don't I live in the town where there's a shop or anything that's not a 15-minute drive away? And I just kind of started thinking, well, I started finding out why is that? Why do I live in the town that I can't walk anywhere at all? I can barely walk. There's my elementary school, which is kind of near, but also can't really walk there because there's no sidewalks. So I'm walking past dangerous cars. And I just I was like, was this an accident? What are these cul-de-sacs for? What is the purpose of all these windy roads that aren't easy to memorize or navigate? And I just remember feeling really angry, in my early teen years that I was living there. I just got so angry. Why am I in this crummy town that's so spread out, which is considered a nice town? It's a pretty well-to-do town.
I hate it.
Oh, I hate it. But I just mean people, it's got a lot of rich people who want to live there.
I'm not going to name the town just for
Hillsborough?
Hillsborough. Were we allowed to talk about it? Hillsborough?
Yeah.
Hillsborough, New Jersey.
I said it 5 times.
I wasn't sure if I was allowed to give your childhood at
not my address.
Not your address, but I don't know. I wasn't sure if you wanted to. I've never liked Hillsborough.
Oh, you grew up in cool towns like Bound Brook and Somerville.
Yeah, no, I didn't grow up in Somerville, but I decided to move there. Yeah. But it never dawned on me till later. It's the reason I liked Somerville so much is because it was a miniature city.
Which
is why I was I want to be there. So over time I was wait, I think I just want to be in a city,
But yeah, it was just suburban boredom, and then it's just okay, so what do you do? And I just saw almost say the degradation of our culture at hand, but in some ways I did, because I was well, what do you actually do if there's nothing to do? What do these kids do? you can sit, you can, if you're lucky enough to have friends in walking distance, maybe you can go play with them. But what are you guys doing together? Are you playing video games?
Probably, yeah. It's probably, yeah.
Getting into trouble in some way? Like, I don't know. I did everything you could do because there was not much to do. It's not like we had museums to go to. It's not like we had, which I love. I love going to museums in the city.
We used to hang out in Wegmans when I was a kid.
Oh, I played Cole's hide and seek. Like, you did everything.
Like, again, suburbs. We wanted, like, where would we go? We literally would go to Wegmans, like, as kids, because that was, like, the closest cool thing to do. We go to the mall. That was another one. Go to the Bridgewater Mall. Go to the Wegmans. I remember we would go there, and there would be, like, these free Chinese, like, cookies, like, from the Chinese
like
food.
A fortune cookie?
Like a fortune cookie. Yeah, there were these, like, fortune cookies, and they were free. So we would just, like, take a bunch of them and then, like, go upstairs in Wegmans and eat them because we were, like, 13 years old. Wegmans, the mall. We would go to the woods. Like, there was, like, some woods around the area, and that was it. We would just figure something out. There wasn't much to do.
Wasn't much to do. And if you didn't like sports, which, being musicians, we weren't really sports people, that list of things to do shrinks a whole lot in our area.
Yeah, because you're right, it is a lot of sports related. Yeah,
like, I feel like all my friends did, like, pee-wee football or whatever, and then later, like, everyone, I think that as a parent, I wouldn't want to live in this. I'm not a parent, but, like, as a parent, if I was one, I feel like that'd be so annoying to drive my kid a half hour. I'm going to drive my kid a half hour to this practice, and then an hour later, I'm going to drive back there. Like, what?
I was really spoiled. Like, I got so spoiled with that.
Yeah.
When I lived in Somerville for a while, and everything was in close enough driving distance to each other that I can get anywhere or anything I wanted within a 5-minute drive away. When I moved to South Jersey, it was called Mount Laurel. I lived in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and it took forever. I mean, there were some things in pretty close driving distance, but there were some other things that I'm like, why is this taking me so long to get here? In Somerville, I could literally get anything I wanted, like within just a few, you can
walk, ride a bike, do whatever you could get within a 5-minute drive. You can go anywhere in that town,
and it's even better in the city. Like, literally, like, just one street away is a pizzeria. There's another restaurant right there. A couple blocks away, like, the train station is, like, in walking distance of my house. Just, like, it's so cool to just, like, have everything I need,
everything you need. And I mean, you're doing, like, jujitsu now, like,
I was like, I really want to try just we
were walking that day.
When I first moved in here, like, we live in same town, I guess, like, right? We live in the same town.
We live in the same neighborhood.
We live in the same neighborhood. And I was like, I've always wanted to try jiu-jitsu, and he was kind of giving me a tour of the neighborhood. He's like, well, there's one, like, right there. And I'm like, what? Like, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I like, jiu-jitsu has been a long time, like, not long time dream, a recent, like the past couple months, like, dream of mine to do. And it's literally just right there. I'm like, wow, like, that's crazy.
Anything you want is just right here. Philly is really nice in that regard.
There are people who get negative about Philly. It irritates me. Like, some of my friends, I'm like, they're like, so where did you go? I hate, but like now I'm kind of getting ranty here.
No, go.
I can't stand when people have to insert their opinion on what makes you happy. That's like a huge pet peeve. And granted, you don't have to like what I like. Like, you can be the type of, you can silently hate Philadelphia, but if you see I'm happy that I moved here, just be happy for me. Like, you can keep your thoughts to yourself. Or, like, if I ask your opinion, it's a different thing. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about Philly. What's your opinion? That's a totally different thing. But if I state I moved here and I'm happy, a lot of the reactions I'll get is like, why? Like, people are so rude. Like, they'll just be like, why? They'll be like, what? Like, they're like, it's terrible there. It's so rough there. And, like, I'm not going to say there aren't rough things about Philadelphia, but that doesn't mean they're like, it's a reason to just totally shun it.
Yeah. People don't like the suburbs at their core. Okay. If you were at, like, they're just so inconvenient. If you were on vacation, people do not vacation anywhere other than cities or city-like communities. I've never taken the vacation
unless it's
where
like
I had
a nature
to drive.
thing. If it's a nature thing, that's different. If it's like
if you're going into the middle of the woods or hiking,
like that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's a little bit different. But oftentimes people will go
like Quebec to Paris to Italy.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, even with the nature, oftentimes they'll still stay in like a walkable town outside the mountains or something. There will be driving in that, but even the beach, like when you're going to the beach, I'm not driving. You're walking around to the beach. You're walking back places like whether it's Seaside or Belmar or whatever.
You have like
Wildwood.
a hotel or whatever, like a house near the beach. That
but
can
you walk
around.
everywhere.
And there's still like miniature
yeah.
cities over
like,
there too, like Somerville, like towns, but at the beach. Yeah,
and like I don't know.
Cape May. Yeah.
The other thing was like College Town. I really enjoyed that when I got older. But like I don't know, people. It's just not a relaxing thing driving around from place to place, and it's just so isolating. And I actually have an issue with like not as I don't think it's sinister. I think it just kind of happened, but like I think that Netflix and things are kind of damaging to our society in the same way.
Subscriptions?
Not maybe, but not subscriptions. What I'm talking about is everything is so. There's no universal media. We're just becoming more distant from each other. You're in less places because of Amazon. You're not going to the store as much. So you worked retail at some point, right?
Yeah.
When I worked retail, you hear the same 20 songs over and over again, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of good if you're not working there. You all know the same songs. People aren't hearing the same pop songs. They're not watching the same movies because there's 10,000 channels. There are no channels
I get what you're saying. There's no cultural connect. Like
we're not getting the same.
Every now and then there'll be some really, really big thing. Like
Taylor Swift.
Squid Games was a big thing.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a fun thing because everybody could get together and be like, did you see the Squid Game? Yes. So you're right. It kind of keeps us together and connects us in a way. But there's so much variety and variation that... well,
the only thing we have now
I also don't want to talk shit about variation. Like, it's also nice to have variation too. Yeah. Like underground music that it's like a certain people like it type of thing.
But that always existed.
Yeah.
When we were in high school, like, you know, you like the Misfits, I like the Misfits, like Ramon, like that was underground relatively. That stuff wasn't on the radio, but we sought it out and we found it.
Yeah.
Kids could, but we still knew like Outkast, like there was still something that was culturally hitting everybody. And I don't think it's sinister. I just think it's sad. I think that like we've gotten so personalized where I don't know that there really is a modern Outkast or a water cooler movie or album. Like when you're in middle school and I'm in middle school or high school or even college, there were albums that were so groundbreaking when they came out that you knew you had to talk about them with your friends. I don't know that there are any albums outside of maybe Taylor Swift, who's been around for like 15 years. She's not a new artist.
Yeah.
Outside of maybe Taylor Swift, where any artist drops an album and anyone who doesn't like that artist knows or cares. And I think movies, Barbie and Oppenheimer and the Marvel movies were really the thing. The Marvel movies are the closest thing to
like a societal
an event, and then Barbie for sure and Oppenheimer.
I could not I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I actually tried watching the Barbie movie recently just because it was such a cultural thing.
And that's good.
But I couldn't get into it. Like
I
didn't have any opinion about it. Like because I remember it was very politicized. Like people were like they're trying to be woke, and then it was all this thing, and I wanted to just know what it was about, and I'm just like. This is for I can't watch doll movies I just couldn't watch it. Like I was just like this is like pink dolls, like it's just like not my thing, like so I couldn't even get into the political part of it because I just couldn't get past the first scene. I'm like this is great if I was like 5, like I just couldn't get it.
No, it's fine. I don't know. I didn't have strong feelings about it. I thought there were some really funny scenes later on, but I thought it was a funny movie, but it's not. I don't know. Didn't hit me.
It didn't. I couldn't get it past like the first scene. I was just like I was like I'm not interested in this.
Yeah, it was. I don't know, it was fine. I had no strong feelings towards that movie. I thought there were some really funny parts. Oppenheimer, I thought was amazing, but we won't get into that.
Is there anything? What's in the theaters right now?
Poor Things. Go watch Poor Things.
What's Poor Things?
Poor Things is new Emma Stone movie. It's the director is Yorgos Lanthimos. He did The Favorite and The Lobster. He is a Greek director who is fantastic. I think Emma Stone's going to win the Best Actress Oscar for it. Her or Lily Gladstone for the new Martin Scorsese movie I just saw is so good. What's it called? It's all about the treatment of Native Americans, and Leonardo DiCaprio is in it, Robert De Niro. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's fantastic also. Those two movies, if you like long movies, are really good.
For as far as like movie theaters in Philly, Center City, like what's the best place? Center City is the best place to see a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hop in the train. I like the Bourse a lot, but really just the PFF, Philadelphia Film Society stuff is good. Yeah.
It would probably be fun to go to Center City to see a movie. Oh, Billy. Yeah. My cat Billy is in love with Matt. It's crazy. You finally get to pick him up. He's very he's like a dog, but for some reason he doesn't feel like getting picked up right now, but he's like a dog.
But he was nuzzling me, just for the record. He was
like, when he walked in the door, he just couldn't, like, he was just all over you. It was crazy.
There's like, okay, here's the extended, okay, it's kind of like, that's a shame if we can't all talk about the same stuff. But the next step is like, okay, now there's people who are so distant from each other. We're watching different news. We're believing different facts. That's, I think, the end point is people don't. Are we going to lose reality? Are we going to lose like
people can exist
truth?
In whatever reality that they want to, basically.
Yeah, and I agree to a point. Yeah. But yeah, and that's terrifying. I mean, there are people who don't believe in very clearly basic things. It feels like.
I remember the QAnon stuff. There was like a whole, I had a friend who, I was fascinated by the QAnon thing because I had
cults are fascinating.
I had a friend who was like, you would never picture her being a QAnoner. She looked like a Disney princess. Like she was like this gorgeous blonde, like literally looks like a Disney princess, like very delicate, like features. And she was like a hardcore QAnoner. And I just remember learning about.
I could picture that.
Yeah, like I remember learning about it, like because she was explaining it to me, and I'm like, there is a group of people who believe that Donald Trump is sent by Jesus. Yeah. Like it's like that exists.
Was she into like crystals or like?
No, she was not into. No, not at all. I mean. Maybe I didn't know her well enough, but I don't think she was into any of that.
There's a weird like new age to Trump pipe, like a new age to QAnon pipeline. I don't understand.
She was Christian, like she was like a devoted Christian. I'm not sure. I feel like religious people are actually anti new age stuff because like it goes against. I don't know. I always thought that new age people and Christians like didn't.
New age people, like when we were growing up, and even until like Donald Trump, were always like kind of hippie liberal people. Something happened during COVID where a lot of new age people are now into QAnon Trump stuff. I don't know where that pipeline hit. Probably YouTube, but like,
I think it actually makes sense to me why they would be like that because they're very. I feel like new age people are very like
open-minded.
Nah, I don't know if open-minded is the word. I'm not even sure if I could phrase.
Maybe I should close it just a little bit. Like, let's not get into everything. I don't know. I like new age people a lot. I don't
even know if I could like phrase what I'm thinking right now. It's so hard to put in words.
I don't know if anyone considers themselves new age. I wonder if that's the thing that other people bestow upon them.
I do believe in this. I do believe in some new age beliefs. I do believe in like the idea of mental manifestation. That I do believe, but I just don't believe that you can do it with like a crystal. But like I do believe that there is.
That's harmless. I don't knock anyone who does that. Whatever.
I've actually said that like before
crystals,
too.
Go for it.
Like if that helps you, because here's the thing. I don't believe crystals have some magic power, but I actually do believe that human beings have magic powers, like so I believe, and when I say magic powers I mean like power to manifest and create reality. So if you need a crystal as a center of focus to get your mind there, I don't see like why.
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
Why not? It's harmless. I mean, yeah, no, all those things in I'm not a religious person, but if someone is religious and they're not affecting other people in a negative way, go for it.
Oh, here's where I was going with that. I think the very hardcore new age people are sort of into conspiracies as far as like food goes. Like they're very into like, which some of them I actually agree with too, but they're very into like conspiracies about how like certain food is meant to keep the people poor and stuff like that. So I can see how those people can get sucked into like conspiracy theories about QAnon as well. They could like slip into that by accident.
Well, fast food does keep people poor.
That's what I say. I actually do agree with that.
Whether it's meant to or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it does keep people poor and unhealthy and it's cycle. And yeah, I mean, yeah, 100%. Fast food, there should be a law. I don't know. I'm against chains. I think I've made it pretty clear my weird Marxist beliefs. But But was it meant to? I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. That's not something I've done enough research on. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, yeah, that's the problem with that was the problem with Trump also is every now and then he would say something that was kind of true, but for horribly wrong reasons, or he would. That's how I think he got a lot of people, because he would say something like, the government's corrupt, and he'd be like, yeah, but then he'd be like, and I'm the one that's making it corrupt.
I understand why people fell for him, it makes perfect sense to me, because I think people were so they lost trust in, and they weren't wrong for this. I feel like people lost trust in politicians. Like they couldn't trust anything. And so here comes along Donald Trump, and his selling point was, I'm not a politician. I've been a TV guy. Like his gimmick was, I'm just a regular man running a business. He's like, I'm not involved with these guys. I'm just a regular dude, like, who runs a business, has a TV, like, does TV stuff like that. Yeah. I'm not affiliated with these people, so you can trust me. So I don't think that people were wrong initially to trust him, but they didn't realize he was like scamming them.
Oh, he's such a con man, and it's absolutely it. I think I
almost fell for it, quite frankly. Like, I was like, yeah, a regular guy, but then like
a regular billionaire, regular guy who's
but like
regular TV reality host.
I don't think the people who fell for him are wrong that they want a regular guy.
Yeah,
but
he's not the guy. He's not the guy.
He's too. I don't know. I think he's ridiculous.
He's also, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, I also don't know if I don't like him, but I also am not 100% convinced he's as evil as people think. I think he's like ridiculous. I think he's just like a ridiculous.
Yeah, yes and no. So, okay, I've thought about this a lot as well, as everyone in America probably has. I mean, there's the whole thing, stupid or evil, both with him.
I think he's more stupid.
He's an idiot. He's an absolute
egotistical, wants to be the center of the show.
He's got third grade vocabulary. Yeah. But like, here's the issue with Donald Trump, though. Are his values evil? No, because he has none. And I really think that's the problem. Is the Trump administration evil? Yes, because all the people he surrounded himself with are like Nazis, and I will stand by that. I think that Stephen Bannon, Stephen Miller, Jared Kushner, was a horrible human being, is a horrible human being. Mike Pence is insane. Like, he surrounded himself with like the worst horrible people you can ever put in a room, and all of them want to do terrible things to the country and the world. Donald Trump wants to make a buck, and more importantly, I think he just wants to be on TV.
That's what I mean. He just like likes the attention. I was saying, I don't know if he's evil. He's just like this egomaniac who wants the attention.
But he's a whore, and he'll sell himself to Nazis, and that's my issue with him.
Which is, I guess you could say, is evil. Selling yourself for
Nazis.
I've thought about this before. Like, what if I was in a situation where I got an opportunity to be a famous musician, but I would then, in order to do it, I would have to work for a company that's like notoriously bad for society. Here's a totally different example. Let's say someone has a desire, because I can't like give as many concrete examples as a musician, so I'm going to go a different route. Let's say you're a woman and your desire is to be a supermodel. There's nothing wrong with that dream. Cool. But now you're a supermodel, you get hired by these companies that are like these corporate clothing companies that are like have slave. So then what do? You finally get your career as a supermodel, and you've worked for it, you deserve it, but you're getting hired by companies that are having a terrible impact on society. It's like, what do you do? It's like, what constitutes evil? So it's like, in the situation of Trump, it's like, yeah, he himself may not have evil beliefs, but in a way it is kind of evil to join corruption for the sake of your own ego and fame. Well, wait, you're selling yourself to the devil.
Wait. He also is the grab them by the pussy guy. So he's a horrible human being and a rapist. I
don't know if that's evil though. Like, it's more just like fucked.
He's got like 30 rape charges or something. Like,
does he? Okay, he is evil. He's
like
evil.
Actually, like, personally, he's an evil guy too. If we're looking at him as a no, he's not. He's the worst human being you could ever have. God. Oh my God, no.
He said some stuff that like genuinely like cracked me up. Not because
he's so funny. I agree. Yeah, sorry.
He said something once like what do you say? I mean, and I don't agree with it. It might sound racist, but just, it was like the way he phrased it. Like, they were going after him for calling the COVID-19 the China virus. I remember he kept calling it the China virus, and he's like
Kung flu.
Something he called. I think he was calling it the China virus. And then like one time on public TV, he was like, "Hey," he's like, "Where's it from? China." Like,
he's hilarious. He's horrible, but like, no, I mean, that's why he's an entertainer. That's all he is.
What is it? Love the art, not the artist. I think he's
That's my favorite usage of that I've ever heard. Love the art, not the artist, about Donald Trump. Wow.
It's from China.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's a child. He's absolutely a buffoon, but like, yeah.
He really raped people? Is that real?
Did you hear? Yes.
All right, that's evil.
Yeah, he's
I don't think saying grab it by the pussy's evil. I think that's ridiculous.
But to actually grab them by
if it's not rape, if they consented to it.
Did you watch the video?
No, I don't know anything about it really. I just know I don't know what it's about.
The grab them by the pussy video?
What is it
it's
about?
It's like 3 minutes. You're gonna watch it right after this. It's just he's sitting on a bus bragging about the women he sexually assaulted.
Goes up to women and grabs them.
This guy's terrible. He's like, you go into the beauty pageants and stuff, and you pretend you're inspecting them.
I didn't realize it was like that. I thought it was like women he was having sex with.
No.
Oh, okay. So that totally changes it. He's great. He's sexually assaulted.
Yes.
Yeah, that's evil.
And he's bragging about it on camera. He's the worst. He's the he has no class.
Grab him by the pussy.
No, that's why the whole Christian thing makes no sense. Anything Jesus would have done, and if he was real, is the opposite of this guy.
Yeah, do the QAners acknowledge the grab? They probably have a thing like they made it up. They probably.
But look at him. It's not like he's ever hidden it. It's like him at his core.
For real though, this is actually coming in the pretty near future, and I'm genuinely scared of this. And it might even be by the next election. Yeah. So you can actually now make AI videos of people. So it's gonna totally screw up the political game. So like. And people are going to say grab it by the pussy and get away with it because they're going to say that's an AI video.
Yeah. I mean,
like reality is going to be totally skewed.
Reality is skewed. It's
already skewed, but it's going to be worse.
It's going to be worse. No, that technology exists right now. I'm a believer that people, when left to their best devices, are going to prefer. I think that, I've heard that people say, are people going to use deep fakes as the technology? Are people going to use deep fakes to distort reality and cause political drama and stuff? I think they might, to be honest with you, Andrea. I think people
will.
Yeah, I think they will, but I think they're probably going to use it to make homemade porn with whoever celebrity they want to. I'm dead serious. I think that's much more likely. If
I become a famous YouTuber one day where like my YouTube channel is known, I don't want fake porn of me on the internet. Like that's fucked up.
It could already exist. It could already be out there, Andrea. But I don't know. I'm much more, maybe that's my pessimism or optimism, but I think people are genuinely lazy at their heart, and that's more so what the technology will be used for. But yeah, they could also use it to, destroy democracy and subvert everything we know in a post-truth society where there is no reality.
They did Watergate. Like if they did that, like if they had that technology then, when they have the technology,
was breaking into a locked door. that was pretty unsophisticated, and then lying about it.
It's you can be lazy and do that.
Now you can lie with video. Yeah, no, maybe it should be banned. I don't know what you do in those situations.
I think that's a whole thing right now as technology is emerging. I think it's like a big discussion right now. There should be internet laws, which to me makes perfect sense. Yeah. There should be like laws of the internet because this is a reality. I'm pointing at my computer. If like everyone's like wondering like why is she just waving her hands because there's a computer right there. There should be laws. It's like right now the internet is like the Wild West.
Totally is.
So. But anyways, we've been going for a while now, and it's getting to our old age's bedtime.
Yeah,
so.
It's I should have brushed my teeth a while ago. I actually set out because of our old age. I knew this was going to go a little late, so I set out my clothing for tomorrow.
No way.
And I started doing my bedtime routine before I came over here, like flossing. I wake up at like 7, 8. But
I actually know like what time you get up because like if I ever text you, like I know what time you respond.
Yeah.
I'm an early bird if you haven't figured that out because like I'll get up like 5, 6 in the morning some days.
I've definitely noticed.
I'll like text you. Like I'm probably such an annoying friend to have because like people must think I'm a loser, like, because I'm so available to text people. But what they don't get is I'm not just waiting for them. I'm like that with everybody.
Well, you do the text to speech thing, I think, right?
Yeah, I do text to speech, so I can.
You can say a lot really quickly.
I can go really fast, but like I'm on. Like I treat life like a work day. Like my whole life is like, boom, who am I going to text here? Who am I going to? And I'm like constantly going. Like I can't stop. I'm like a workaholic. So like
cocaine's a hell of a drug.
So people who said that there was like a fan.
No, that's is that Chappelle, but it's
isn't then the Chappelle show. Rick James,
yeah.
like Chappaine's. I combined cocaine, Chappelle, Chappaine's. No, but like I'm the most annoying friend probably because I'm just like I'm all over it. Like I'm like, what time's this? When's the like I'm so into the. I would have made a great like office lady. I feel like I have no desire to be an office lady, but like I would have been a really good.
You would have gotten stuff done. Yeah.
Like I would have been a great
100%.
secretary. I would have been an amazing secretary.
Yeah. You can type quick. I think, yeah, well, no, don't worry. Everyone always thinks that they're that person because I like get your messages. So I don't know if you know this about me, but it probably will seem obvious. I've had no notifications for the past 2 years. So it's a miracle I ever text you back at all, or anyone for that matter, or answer any phone calls. I check due to like phone addictions, I still check my phone periodically, but like you can text me something and then I'll just like, because I keep my phone in another room most of the time, like if I'm at home, but like if I'm out on the go, I don't get vibrations or anything. So if we're in the middle of a conversation, that's what I'm doing. But then if I'm doing something else and you text me back and it'll be 15 minutes, an hour or two. It could be anything, not you, but like anyone in particular before I'm like, oh yeah, let me finish this. And I used to be like, oh crap, I need to text them back. Now I'm just like, oh cool. All right, send this message. All right, it'll be fine. I treat it like an answering machine now. Like if you need to reach me, it's never going to happen. But I'll get back to you within an hour usually. Yeah.
No,
although I like talking with you. You're cool. Like it's fun. We are friends.
I should do that more often because I am kind of like hooked to my phone. I don't know how to put it down sometimes. Like I'm on the emails, like I'm in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's just before bed is the best thing for me. If I put it in a different room than I'm in, then I'm not doom scrolling until I sleep. I can read a book or something.
That I don't do. I'm actually good at that. Yeah. When I wake up, I'm on that thing, but before bed, I put it down, and because it keeps me awake and it gives me migraines if I look at it too long. So I'm actually really good with that. But in the morning, I'm like on it. I'm like, I'm on it.
Well, morning's coming now, isn't it?
Yeah, so we have to end the podcast. Cheers.
Cheers. Is yours empty too?
Yeah, I'm just like doing a fake.
Yeah, we're both fakes.
Deep fake tea.
Deep fake tea. Just soak me wet with this right now.
All right, that's it. This was a fun episode. Pranzata Podcast, episode 109. If you liked what you heard today, please don't forget to comment on anything we talked about through the episode. Also, don't forget to hit subscribe. I would like to get this channel monetized at some point. Like, I really want to be like Jeff Bezos and, I want to take advantage of people, and I can't do it without lots of, I don't know.
We need to split the middle class.
I no, for real. I just want to be monetized so I could continue doing this and like get better at it, get better equipment and whatnot. Where can they find your FEENY stuff? Your social security number, like everything.
Yes, what was that? 695 42.
Oh, you're just gonna give away somebody's.
Yeah, right, probably. 287 1. Just did a bunch of highways. No, you guys can find me if I didn't annoy you too much at FEENYNJ.com. So that's FEENYNJ.com. Wherever you want, search FEENY, FEENY on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, unfortunately, whatever you guys want to listen to us. I don't care. We're on all the evil sites from all the evil companies.
That's what I mean. Can you have a society? Well, anyway, we already talked about
that's next. We'll talk about Ted Kaczynski in the next one.
Okay, so that's it. Check him out on Spotify. FEENY, FEENY music, like Mr. FEENY, but not PH. FEENY. I don't even know if that's a thing.
Not the.
I was trying to do like a play on words, like not pH fat or like whatever.
Yeah. Not pH, like acid, I guess, like acids, alkalines. Now we're getting real nerdy.
F Is there anything on the table of elements that starts with F?
Yeah. What would
Fair and. I don't know if there's any F element.
Fluoride.
Fluoride might be not F like fluoride. F like fluoride. Like fluoride. All right. Anyways, Pranzata Podcast, episode 109. Have a good night, guys. Bye.